Fit for Life Radio, episode number 159.
You almost said 459.
Oh, 459. Not yet. 159. Gary and Will here.
What's good?
We had an email from a client asking for a guide or information on kind of like exercising and eating when sick.
Yeah, like what do you do? Because I know a lot of people feel like they kind of lose everything, when they get sick.
Yeah, and since it's like flu and cold season coming on up, we figured it'd be a good thing to go over.
Yeah.
Or is it now flu,
Cold.
COVID season?
I think it is.
Is it like part of that now?
Part of the rotation.
Instead of like when you get the little medicine that says cold and flu?
Cold, flu, COVID.
Yeah, will it say that?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Marketing.
Well, all right, so let's dig in because I think a lot of times too, and the question with this is people, you get maybe sick and then you're like, you don't do anything at all, and then you fall off and you maybe are leery of when this happens. You get worried because you might kind of default to that pattern. So I think a lot of people would wonder this question because it's like, what can I do?
What should I do?
Same thing with the eating, right? Like there's the old starve of flu, feed a cold, or something like that. How's it go?
Starve of fever, feed a cold. Is that it?
Hey, that's why things like that aren't good because your grandma tells your mom one way, and then your mom tells you the other way, and it gets all twisted.
And then
up.
you're making yourself sicker.
So it's feed a cold, starve a fever.
Yep.
And it's probably like just a wives' tale. There's scientifically, it has not been confirmed, right? So first we'll back up a little. Maybe like what are things we can do to prevent getting sick, right? So we'll start with what can we do to prevent getting sick nutrition-wise. We have our immune system, right? And guess what? Our body needs nutrients to do all things, right? And we are always feeding, our cells, our body. And yes, our immune system needs nutrients, right? So this is why typically, if you have a low nutrient diet,
A highly processed
you may
diet.
be someone who gets sick all the time.
Yeah.
You're not helping yourself. So our body absorbs nutrients, and then it kind of can use them, right, for different functions of our immune system, inflammatory system, distributes the nutrients as needed. Less nutrients, more demand, more can go wrong, right? And then another thing too is our gut bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So prebiotics and probiotics can be very helpful to having a robust digestive stomach bacteria, which affects our immune system. So again, if you have a highly processed, low nutrient dense diet, which typically is low in some of these foods we'll get into that are high in prebiotics and probiotics, again, that's another knock against your immune system, right? What are some of those foods? So essentially, as we all kind of know, right, no one even really needs to be told to do this. If you eat more nutrient-dense foods, you're going to have a better, more robust immune system to prevent getting sick in the first place.
Basics, yeah.
So prebiotics, probiotics. So prebiotic foods are vegetables like asparagus, garlic, onions. Those are probably the most common, garlic and onion are very high prebiotic foods. And then other carbs like
potatoes.
Potatoes
are a big one.
Oats, beans,
yams.
Fruit.
Love that word.
Fruit, apples, bananas, berries, common stuff, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, eat fruits and veggies, and you're getting prebiotics.
Yeah.
If you want a good wallop of prebiotics, it's not the most tasty thing, but I know A green banana,
Oh,
actually.
they're real high.
Yeah.
If you want to have like a chalky mouth.
Yeah.
You know what though? Every once in a while, I do like a green banana.
Yeah, it's kind of like, especially if it's like cool. you
Yeah,
know?
I don't know why, because it really, if you kind of peel it back,
But you know what? I'll even almost say this. There's a stage where I like a green banana
Mm-hmm.
better than this certain stage where it's like yellow.
Yeah.
Like real early yellow. It ends up being like, I don't know. It's weird.
Is it
I
the
just-
worst of
I had-
both?
Yeah.
Both worlds.
So I prefer the extremes of bananaism.
Yeah. So if you really want to hit, get yourself a banana that looks green.
I need a green banana or like some spots.
Yeah. Nothing. You don't like the in between?
No.
I'm fine with the in between.
Then probiotics, you got your dairy, so fermented foods, yogurt, cheese, kefir,
Sauerkraut,
sauerkraut, pickles,
kimchi,
tempeh.
soy sauce. I forget that soy sauce is fermented.
So
I always forget that.
there you go.
So
So-
all of those are. I mean,
Yeah, eat your fruits, veggies, fermented food that helps feed your gut bacteria.
your daily yogurt.
And then make sure you're getting nutrient-dense foods, right? So I know stuff like zinc, things like that are very important for our immune system. Where's
Mhm.
zinc? It's in red meat,
Yeah.
right? It's in there's nutrients in meats,
Mm-hmm.
fruits, veggies. Those are gonna be the most nutrient.
Things like eggs have a lot of nutrients in them too.
So.
So yeah, whole foods
Mm-hmm.
is what we're after.
It's going to be helpful. Now, let's slide over since we're in the prevent sickness as best as we can. We'll slide over exercise, right? Yes. Again, nothing surprising, but same thing, kind of a bell curve. Too little and too much exercise can have negative impacts on our immune system.
Yes.
So you want to kind of find that balance, right? And again, this is like typically the more stress ridden your life is,
The closer to the middle you need to be.
the closer the closer to less exercise, right? Like if you're 24 years old, have no kids, no job, and you get paid to play a sport,
You could be closer to the stressful end of the
Yeah.
bell curve.
But essentially, and then also too, so that's kind of on a broad spectrum, so like working out 7 days a week, 2 hours a day, probably not helpful for your immune system.
No.
Working out none, probably not helpful for your immune system. So find that middle balance. Now also too, that's like kind of your macro. Now within individual workouts, one-time exercises, right? Your like low, moderate exercise can help boost immunity. Very, very brief, vigorous exercise it's kind of like neutral. It won't cause an immune suppressing effect. Prolonged, vigorous exercise is negative. Negative.
So if you're getting after it for like an hour and a half or something.
it's going to suppress your immune system.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why, in general, the longer you go, the less intense, the more often you go, the less intense
Mhm.
your stuff needs to be, right? For as far as promoting your immune system. This is, so like, resistance training, low intensity cardio, do those in little moderate amounts and they're going to boost your immune system. If you do want to go hard, make it real short. Little finisher in your workout. Once a week, 10, 15, 20-minute session tops.
Of
But
really getting after
you
it.
start trying to do these like hit sessions for like your entire workout, like an hour
Or
2 hours,
multiple hit sessions.
or moderate to high intensity, prolonged,
Mhm.
hour and a half, 2 hour plus. It's going to hurt your immune
Yeah.
system. When these people go and do, go to the gym and you do like cycling for an hour, and then you do like group X for an hour, and then it's like that's
Like the more is not helping you. It's gonna
Running you
gonna
down.
hurt you in the long run.
So and also specifically, doing chronic resistance trainings stimulates our innate immunity.
Yeah. So regularly doing it.
And again, you have to look at it like a bell curve, right? So high intensity probably has a high risk of getting us sick,
Mm-hmm.
right? Being sedentary, it's interesting actually. Being sedentary has a higher risk than a moderate amount of exercise, but still probably less risk than a high
Then if you're really getting after it.
high intensity, right? And this is why a lot of times, yeah, like athletes and stuff get sick all the time and injured all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's just because they're pushing it to the
they're
limit.
pushing performance. You know, it's like I'm gonna do all this stuff, but yeah, that's gonna come at a cost with your immune system
Mm-hmm.
taking a hit, right? So again, moderate intensity in general is going to be positive and help your risk of getting sick be as low as possible. Then other factors are stress, age, sleep, mood, things like that, obviously. Okay, so now we know, wow.
Let's talk, how to prevent.
If you eat a high nutrient-dense whole food diet and do a moderate amount of exercise at a moderate intensity, you are giving yourself a great chance.
You're bolstering yourself.
Yeah, boosting your immunity, not getting sick. Now, if you do eat a very low nutrient dense, so more than likely a highly processed.
Cranking out honey buns for breakfast.
Yeah. And then either doing no exercise or trying to kill yourself every day.
To balance out the honey bun you have for breakfast.
Yeah. You probably get sick
Yeah.
a lot. Or you're definitely putting yourself at a higher risk. Okay, so now let's say you've gotten sick, right? What can you do? We'll start with nutrition. So foods that could possibly are shown to fight and improve symptoms. They may help you feel better faster. Garlic. Garlic's actually, when you look, and I know like examine.com, so they're real good about like, if you want to learn about like supplements and foods and like science.
There's a lot of research. They do
like
good
evidence.
citations.
One of the few foods, talk about like most food doesn't have a ton of magical qualities in that regard.
Garlic though, baby.
But garlic is definitely like the most backed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
some
freaking
people,
love garlic.
Who's gonna, I like garlic too. I love garlic in all forms, like add it to meals, kind of diced up, or like roast it, eating it whole. Even like little. Sometimes you can get like those jars with like whole garlic cloves, you know. But yeah, so garlic is a strong antibiotic. Can help with colds, things like that. Green tea supposed to have antibodies that help get rid of invading pathogens. Honey as well, antibacterial.
That classic tea and honey, man.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandma told you to do it for a good reason.
Chicken soup, mostly because it's providing fluids, electrolytes.
Nice and salty.
And berries. They have a high
elderberries, to be specific.
Elderberries specifically. That's one of those where I'm like, where do you even get elderberries? So it's not very practical. But
so that one, like, you got to buy, like, I take that. You got to buy it.
Oh, like an extract or something? Yeah. So,
it's got a lot of good research, though, for its antiviral properties.
And with that, so supplements, vitamin C, zinc, both of those are known to, like, we need those. Like, we go back to, hey, your body needs nutrients to support your immune system. Well, vitamin C and zinc are probably two of the ones
the biggest.
that have the biggest impact. So supplementing them when you get sick, it's not going to hurt. Also, like elderberry extract, ginseng. Those are some common ones. Selenium, I know, is another one too.
Yeah.
Again, selenium, zinc, pretty high in animal foods, especially like red meat and eggs. Beta-glucan is a supplement. You can also get beta-glucan from oats. It's common in oats. So, yeah, those things could help. Really, that's it. There's no
magic.
And the reality is, they may really just help you feel better, which then, that could be worth it, right?
Yeah.
And then the sickness will run its course.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's 1 scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
As we all know, drink plenty of fluids. You know,
That's number
like
one.
your mom would say. That's going to be a big thing. And rest and recover, right? So when we get into the exercise stuff, now when it comes down to the whole starve a fever or feed a cold, starve a fever, the best thing that's probably known to this point is if you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't.
Yeah.
Right? So don't force anything down if you have no appetite. If you have appetite, eat. Some of those foods we mentioned, nutrient-dense foods, obviously are going to be more helpful. And
Try to make that easy as well.
Yeah.
Don't expect to cook the exact same meals you normally do if you feel like garbage. Things like rotisserie chicken, frozen veggies, like that's easy compared to maybe your normal stuff.
Yeah. So again, most stuff we kind of already know, maybe intuitively. There's going to be no magic bullet. Now when it comes to exercising while sick. So in this one, same thing intuitively. I know myself, when I have been sick, it's, for one, you don't want to, especially if say you normally work at a gym, you obviously don't want to go and spread your sickness, so that's something. And then I know a lot of times they say if it's like in your chest, you definitely want to lay off. If it's in your head, then some exercise can start to help.
Yeah, so like a sore throat, headache, things like that.
So say it's early on in your illness, and yeah, it is kind of like a head thing. So you're, like Will said, those symptoms. Then yeah, low intensity exercise, right? So if you go for a walk, low intensity. That's going to be for most people. If you have like a bike, or something like that, and you're conditioned enough to where you can go easy and keep things low intensity. But that's pretty much going to be your options.
Yeah.
And you can do those by yourself if you have a treadmill at home or like a recumbent bike, or get outside and walk. So early on, first 1, 2, 3 days, like
just move around.
That's where you're going to find yourself, right? Now, if you're having some more severe stuff like running a high fever, diarrhea, vomiting,
achy
joint
stuff.
pain, like we said, probably like that chest congestion, just no exercise.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be for the early stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, with that stuff too, probably gonna have to just consult a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Or just wait till you're pretty strongly better. towards the end, like we said, if it's the lighter stuff, then you can eventually start working in, some moderate stuff. So like some resistance training. But again, you want to make sure you're kind of like on the up and up, getting better, right?
Yeah.
So you're less contagious if you're gonna have to be around other people. You could just ramp up your intensity a little on the low intensity stuff to
Yep.
where it's a little more moderate, still trying to keep your heart rate kind of less than like 150 beats per minute,
Just keeping it a little more conversational still,
Yeah.
even though your heart rate's
which
up.
is like a hike, you know?
Yeah.
So, for the most part, in general, when you're sick, what can you do? Like we said, unless obviously, typically, if you are having diarrhea and puking, you're not thinking about doing nothing. So yeah, a little cold, cough, runny nose, all that. Like, go for a walk.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down to what is our low intensity, and like that also comes back to like what helps prevent being sick. Some low intensity exercise, right? So that's always a safe baseline.
Yeah.
With the exercise, right? Pros and cons, like we said, for the most part, if you're not sure, probably don't do much or just
Yeah.
go for a walk outside. I do think there is a benefit to trying to do something as soon as you can, even being just a walk,
Yep.
because you're keeping the habit alive. You just feel better, you get moving, helps, especially if you're used to exercising consistently, just to get in that better headspace.
Yeah.
Even when recently I had like this little surgery thing done and I couldn't exercise for weeks, but I still, was able to go for a walk. So I just repositioned in my head like, hey, my training session today is a walk, so that I'm still like mentally
You're still getting it done.
getting it done.
Yep.
So I think there is a lot of value to doing that. And again, with the nutrition, like high nutrient foods, lean proteins, fruits, veggies. The reality is what you should kind of be doing when you're not sick is what you can be doing when you are sick. But definitely paying attention a little more to your appetite and not forcing anything is key, right? So yeah, hopefully that helps. I know Vivian sent in the email and she was sick and probably feeling flustered, right? What can I do? And yeah, it's a simple guidelines. But to kind of recap, like we said, to prevent getting sick in the first place, yeah, there is, and you're probably tired of hearing this because we harp this on all our episodes almost, but unless you're have extreme performance athlete type goals, moderation is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
not beast mode in 6 days a week.
Yeah, same goes for your immune system. So to prevent getting sick, you want to avoid under and over exercising. You want to avoid over and under eating. You want to maintain a healthy body weight. Obviously, stuff like wash your hands, get enough sleep, eat nutrient-dense food, and specifically make sure you're feeding your gut bacteria. So like those pro and prebiotic foods we talked about.
Eat your yogurt and your green bananas.
That's going to give you the best chance to fight off getting sick.
Yeah.
And if you do get sick, again, drink lots of fluid, rest. If you're hungry, eat. If you're not, don't. And yeah, focus on those immune boosting foods. Some garlic.
Just add garlic to everything, man.
And then get walking. Get to walking.
I think I find any excuse to add garlic to something, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah, you start getting sick on purpose.
just so I can bump my garlic up.
Can you think of a time when you were sick and you've learned how, your body eventually tells you, right? Like I know there's a time where I've been sick and I'm like, I'm going to train, right? Especially obviously for the last, how many years now? 8, 9, 10, 12 years having my own gym, so I could like go in when no one's there.
Yep.
And you quickly, you try to do your regular workout.
You realize real quick whether you should be doing it or not.
And your strength isn't there. You just feel like crap. And the
Mhm.
reality is, like we go back to, hey, for exercise to be productive, you need to recover from it, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's point blank at the very beginning.
if you're sick, your body's got
It's got other things to do.
Exactly.
Like it's trying to get back to baseline. And then, if you're asking a big demand of it,
You're just putting a dent. You're just digging that.
you're digging the hole deeper.
Yeah.
So just know that, like, doing too much too soon is a detriment.
Yeah.
So
You're
slow rolling it with some easy walking or bike riding is the way to go.
Yeah. And over the years, so then if I do, which I'd never get sick, right? I think the only like
Is it because you eat your probiotic and
don't know.
prebiotic
I
foods?
don't know. Even when I was a kid, I didn't get sick much. My mom and I would actually really align it back to we had like strict bedtimes and always got our sleep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a big part of it.
And I still do, and so I would align it to that. I know like right around Christmas, when it was like that fourth wave of like COVID stuff,
Mhm.
I did get sick.
Yeah.
It was real quick, like 2 days,
And now,
and it sucked. It was like headache and that kind of stuff. But there was no way I would have exercised. But then eventually getting back into it, I didn't just dive back in. I eventually like just did some low intensity on the bike, some walks, and then eventually got back into training. So I can even tell, I'll actually like, you can even feel, sometimes you get like a scratchy throat and
Mhm.
just feel run down.
Yep.
I'll skip my workout
same.
because now
Because you know it's going to make it worse.
yeah, like because my lifting sessions are pretty intense. I am pushing my body close,
Mhm.
so it's probably like, like in that acute moment, it's definitely not. It could, my immune system's gonna be asked to work, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I would rather, feel fully recovered, right? So now and again, that rarely happens, but that's typically the mindset I'm at now to prevent maybe it like progressing, my immune system taking a big dent, and then I do.
But yeah, well then you're sick for how many days, and then you definitely can't train
Yeah.
if you do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I've ended up too. So.
And then overall too, when you go into the whole hashtag beast mode, and that's why and we see it too over the years working in the industry. A lot of people go hard and they get sick for and stuff like pneumonia, and they're like out for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so even if, which it's not, which is the crazy thing, but even if say training like insane was
More beneficial.
more effective, well, it wouldn't be if you then end up getting sick and you miss these huge chunks of time.
I mean, imagine 12 weeks on, 6 weeks off. If we're just gonna go with that, dude, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna regress, and like in 6 weeks, you will lose muscle mass, you will lose strength, you
Mhm.
will lose aerobic capacity. So like you're not doing yourself a service by, going hard and then stopping.
Yeah. And then with diet, it comes back to, and we talked about this on a recent podcast, like, you need to find the reason. Look, eating more whole and processed foods is not going to be as tasty as, modern
Processed
foods and these combinations that are super delicious. So you have to find these other reasons, these other benefits
to eat the whole foods.
to eat the foods and kind of give yourself some short-term, hey, I'm making this good decision because I know down the road. And one of them is, hey, when I eat healthier, more in an amount that can maintain a good body weight, I am giving myself a chance to not be sick, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? The moment you're sick, it freaking sucks.
Yeah.
And
you're like, damn, I
you would
should
do
have done
anything
better.
not to be sick. So start thinking about how these foods
Fuels. Yeah, they're all the same.
are helping me with that,
Mhm.
right? So again, same thing. I know myself personally, like over the years, that is one thing. Like I feel good about eating these foods because I know I never get sick, and it's part of that process.
Mm-hmm.
And I like not being sick.
Yeah.
So, and again, not sick shaming anymore.
No,
'Cause,
it happens.
Sometimes you're like super stressed. You're working. You got to work these crazy shifts,
Yeah.
and you're not getting sleep.
And it is out of your control a little bit.
And you have like screaming kids, and you're not able to get to the gym. So you are kind of teetering on that nothing factor of exercise. And Whole Foods, you do got to prepare them, and you're not in a good habit of preparing them. So you do got to grab what's quick and convenient. But so again, even if you're in that chapter, in that place, once you're able to start stringing together, some habits, start now saying, hey, you know what? I want to be more robust. I want to not get sick, right? And these are the things that do it. And again, if you want to boil it down even to as simple as possible, it's moderation, right? It's not extreme diets where you eat no food, or extreme workout programs where you exercise all the time. Like avoid these extremes of so much food that I gain a bunch of weight and get overweight, so little food that I'm starving and
That you're
feel crappy,
malnourished.
right? So much exercise that I'm running myself into the ground, so little exercise that I have no
movement. You're not doing anything.
Find that moderate amount. What is that moderate amount? 2 to 4 resistance training workouts, daily walk, It's that simple. It's really,
It's not hard.
you know, you could piece it together to being a couple hours a week. So, in food wise, yeah, 80-20, right? Like, we're not saying don't ever have a Twinkie, but
Just don't have nothing but Twinkies.
have a Twinkie, but also the rest of the day you had, you know, some lean protein, you had 3 pieces of fruit, you
Got your
had,
veggies.
you know, 3 cups of veggies, you had some whole grains, right? Getting that nutrition in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you have to realize that is, you know, you want to be careful not to label foods as good and bad, but, you know, processed foods, so that Twinkie, those goldfish, they don't have much nutrients in them, right? Because they are refined, right? So to
And they
make
taste
them,
great.
they get stripped of layers and things where the nutrients are, and they lose a lot of their micronutrition. So then they just end up being macronutrients. So you're getting calories, you're getting, say, carbs or fats, but the micro
It's not there.
is not there. And that's a problem with a lot of people is now we end up getting plenty of calories.
Yeah,
and
we're in a calorie surplus, but a micronutrient
yeah, like deficit.
deficit.
And how does that show itself a lot of times?
Getting sick.
Yep. Low energy.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. You know, a lot of times when you have like all like skin things and like rashes and stuff like that, it could be micronutrient deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, you don't have to be. I mean, it can open your eyes if you go on Chronometer and plug in all your food, and it will tell you like, hey, these are the RDA, and this is where you're at. But really, if you just make sure to eat from various food groups, you can cover a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
right? So if you have some meat, if you have some dairy or like fortified products, right? You know, like almond milk and stuff now is fortified with like some nutrition that's in dairy, right? Like calcium and vitamin A, vitamin D. You know, some grains, some fruits and veggies, right? All
Mhm.
those have a spectrum of nutrients, and that each group kind of may have that other foods don't
Yeah.
have, right?
And they definitely, overlap into a nice, big, complete thing of nutrients.
Yeah. So there you go. Hopefully you don't get sick this winter. If you do, now you know what to do,
Yeah.
or you know what to do to prevent getting sick.
Prevent it. Let's work on prevention this year.
Yep.
I think that's what we should all do.
And again, another big one, which we've touched on before, is your body weight. Your body composition
Mhm.
matters.
It does.
You know, like when we gain weight, our body fat can almost act like this organ, right? And
Mhm.
it ends up being inflammation causing,
Yeah.
immune system suppressing, right? So getting to a healthy body weight,
It's just helpful in general.
yes, makes you healthier.
Healthier.
So, what is a healthy body weight? Start with BMI charts, right? Everyone wants to.
Everyone
poo-poo
hates
them.
on it.
You know why? Because, well, majority of people do not fall into the healthy BMI range,
Mhm.
and so no one likes that, right? And the reality is, you know, people be like, oh, it doesn't account for muscle and stuff. True.
But
But
most
guess
people
what?
aren't like bodybuilders that are
Yeah, less than 3% of people are out here out muscling
their BMI. Yeah.
BMIs, right? So
100%.
you know, that's a good place to start. There's a reason the medical industry, doctors, use that, right?
Yeah.
So,
And it's not always what we want to hear.
yeah. But yeah, start there, and that's a good place to aim for. Another one is like waist measurement,
Mhm.
right? So if you're like, and this isn't your pants, because pants are different,
Yeah.
and they're all over the place. This is an actual tape measure around your like natural waist, right? So like an inch or two above your belly button, or right around your belly button, right? So, you know, 36 inches or less for guys, I
think that's
believe,
right, yeah.
is like a good rule of thumb, and for women, it's like 34 or less, or 33 or less, something like that. Actually, let me pull up the one information I have, so I don't just give you something like that. I got it here in our coastal members group. Featured posts.
Skirt.
Yes. So, priorities for health and longevity. Engage in regular physical activity that meets or exceeds the current guidelines. Maintain a healthy body weight and body composition. Get sufficient durations of sleep. Those are the big three. And then as far as body composition, yes, a good general thing is for men, health risk when your waist circumference is less than 37 inches,
Okay.
no increased health risk.
Boom.
37 to 40 inches, increased health risk. Greater than 40 inches, significantly increased health risk. For women, 32 inches or less, less than 32, no increased health risk. 32 to 37, increased health risk. 37 or greater, significantly increased health risk. So there you go. That's a good guideline, or like BMI. Start there.
Mhm.
Those are going to put you in ranges that help give you the chance to avoid being sick and other health consequences.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we appreciate you for listening. As always, if you're not, you should join our Facebook group, Fat Loss Secrets for Busy Adults.
It is free.
Got
A lot of good info.
Got a challenge. Everyone's crushing it and learning a lot. So you can just search for that on Facebook, or in the description of our show notes of the podcast episodes, there's a link in there as well.
Yeah. Hop on in.
All right.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
We'll see you next time.